Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Scott. I'm an American that lives in this beautiful country of Australia. And today we're going to be talking about the five things that I hate about Australia. Let's get into it. Now, I should preface this by saying that there is nothing that I actually really hate about Australia. There's very few things in this world that I hate other than the Kansas City Chiefs. But there are some things that I dislike about Australia. No matter where you're from, there's going to be things you dislike about where you're from. And so these are just my opinions. I'm going to be wrong on some things more than likely, and you're going to disagree with me on some things. That's okay. But either way, let's get into it. The first thing that I don't like, the thing that I don't love about Australia is the slow service. Now, granted, I'm generalizing, yes, I will say that. Sometimes the service is absolutely phenomenal, especially if you're like the only person in a restaurant or at a bar or whatever. You're going to get quick service. With that said, what I've noticed, and I think this has to do like twofold. One, Australia is a much slower pace of life kind of place. People are more chill here. There's less of a rush to get things done, and so therefore the service is slower. The second thing is going to be the fact that there's no tipping. Tipping really isn't a thing here. It's slowly starting to creep in, but I think Australians are going to, I don't think if you're putting out a tip jar, you're getting many tips. So because there's no tipping, there's no incentive for people to serve you faster. In America, there's like a hustle. You're trying to get things out as fast as possible and give good service, and then hopefully you get a better tip. Here, you get paid the same amount no matter how good or how bad the service is. And therefore, the service is slower. It's not like it's atrociously slow. It's just slower than what I'm used to, especially being from a town like Vegas where it's just go, 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 and people are working for tips. Things are a lot more hustly, and things happen faster because of that. So yeah, that is the first thing that I don't love about Australia is the slower service. The second thing that I don't love about Australia is going to be the parking situation. Now, again, there are some situations where parking is great. Australia has a lot more free parking than you would think, especially in places where normally it would be paid parking. Like right now, if you watch my vlog, I'm doing this after the vlog, and I'm sitting down in Manly, and right where I'm sitting, it's like, I think 2 hours free, and anybody can park here. And generally, when you come down here, even on a busy day, there's always parking, and it's free, and that's nice. However, what I don't love is going to like the grocery store or going to the mall or the arcade or whatever you want to call it. Those parking spots tend to be pretty tight, and that's because Australia is, ironically, they're kind of strapped for land. Maybe they're not strapped for land as much as they try to preserve or use the least amount of land possible, which I appreciate. I appreciate being from a place where, a shopping center can take up like 40, 50 acres just in like, 70% parking lot. I appreciate that they do their best to make the parking lot small and not have a huge footprint. But that does mean that the parking spaces are small and the like room to get past each other is quite tight. And I don't know how. Like I'm looking right now. There's a Dodge Ram, like a pretty nice Dodge Ram, but a Dodge Ram nonetheless. I have no idea how that man parks his car anywhere. Going to the shopping malls, like all of the spots are what we would call like compact spots in America, and the compact spots here might as well be for motorcycles. So that's something that I just don't love. It's nerve-wracking to try to park a car here. Maybe I'll get a Dodge Ram. Why not? America! And if we're going to talk about things that I hate, we should talk about the thing that I hate the most, which is my data not being secure. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I have partnered with NordVPN. NordVPN is a VPN service. If you don't know what VPN is, a virtual private network. It allows you to basically create a bubble around your data. I use it every single day, no exaggeration. I have it on my phone, I have it on my laptop. And what I use it for is not only to protect my data, but it allows me to choose my location. Something I didn't realize was that Netflix in the UK is probably the best Netflix. They have The Office, they have Titanic, they have Reservoir Dogs. They have so many movies that not only the US doesn't have, but even some that Australia doesn't have. especially being The Office. I'm a huge fan of the US version of The Office, and the only place you could watch it before was Peacock, where you had to watch ads. Now, no more. I turn on my NordVPN, I set it to London, and boom, I'm watching The Office. No commercials, the way it used to be and the way that I like it. So if you want to secure your data, or at the very least, you want to be able to watch movies and TV shows from other countries, sign up for NordVPN. I'm talking! If you look down in the description below, you're going to see a link for NordVPN. If you click on that link and sign up for NordVPN, I get a little kickback, which helps the channel, helps me make more content, better equipment, bigger, better stuff. And yeah, it helps me out, and it helps you out because you get to watch all the shows and movies from other countries and have secure data. So think about it. I appreciate you guys. I know this is like the first technical ad I've ever done, so if you skip through it, I don't blame you, but I appreciate you guys. And yeah, click the link down below. Sign up for NordVPN. The third thing that I don't love about Australia is how isolated it is. Again, most of you watching this are probably Australian, and you know that it's hard. It's hard to be so far from everything. If we want to take a vacation, then, you know, the closest place is like Bali, and that's still like a 6-hour flight, depending on where you're from. And if you want to go to the UK, you want to go to America, you want to go to Japan, any of those places are looking at like 10+ hour flights. That's a long flight. You know, for me to go home, it would be a 14.5-hour flight, 14-hour flight. And it would cost me at least $1,000. And that kind of sucks, you know, especially Australians are really adventurous people. Most of them have traveled overseas, and it's tough. It's tough to like have to shell out that kind of money, especially for me to like go visit family and visit friends. It sucks. It sucks to be that isolated. It does lend to the Australian culture. It's the reason Australia is the way it is, especially the wildlife. You know, Australia is basically a gigantic island that separated from the mainland like millions of years ago. And because of that, evolution took its course and it wasn't interrupted by other species. And that's why everything here is trying to kill you. That's why, because nothing could interfere with it until, you know, the white man came and we started pest control companies. But yeah, isolation is something that I don't love about Australia. That's going to be number 3. And speaking of wildlife, number 4 is going to be not necessarily the wildlife, but more the insect thing. Yes, I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. I teased people that, you know, most people I spoke to before I came here said, oh my goodness, Australia, everything's trying to kill you. The spiders, the snakes, oh my goodness, bears and tigers, oh my. And while it isn't as bad as people, especially social media, makes it out to be, it is not raining spiders. And you don't, like, I have never checked my shoes before putting my shoes on. However, I was on the toilet one time recently, like a week ago, and I looked to my left and there is a spider, like Spider-Man, just going like back up into the ceiling. And I'm not super afraid of spiders. I don't like roaches more than I don't like spiders. But I definitely sat there and said, okay, maybe they had a point. Maybe they had a point. And then when I was doing dishes, I looked out the window of my kitchen and there's a gigantic spider web with a spider probably about the size of my ring on it. I've gone for walks and seen spiders about the size of my palm. Yeah. There are spiders everywhere. It, again, is not as bad as social media makes it seem, but it is something that, you know, I think you just kind of get used to it. Like when I go take the trash out at night, I bring a flashlight and check for snakes. If you're near a bush or like a field or an area where there's like vegetation, there's probably at least one snake in there. And that's something that you just kind of deal with. You live with it. You get used to it. Same with the spiders. But as somebody I'm not a big fan of insects. That is not my most favorite thing, and that is something that I dislike about Australia. Is number 4, not so much the wildlife. I like kangaroos and stuff. It's just more the insects. Number five, and this is going to be extremely controversial. Ooh, all right, I'm gonna have to prepare for the comments on this one. I don't really like Australian cars, and this is very much a personal thing, as everything in this video is. This is all just my opinions, but I'm a car guy, and I, obviously being from America, have an affinity for American cars. And while there are some Fords and some Chevys here they're called Holdens, they aren't my favorite looking cars. Like right now, there's a Ford Falcon passing me. I don't love Ford Falcons. I think they look like a Ford Taurus, and I'm not a big fan of those cars. Please, if you're a car guy, don't come at me. There are some cars that you guys have here that I love, that I'm jealous of. I actually really love the Suzuki, I love the Suzuki Swift. I think those are cool. Boxy one, the Suzuki Jimmy. You guys have those. Those are awesome. We can't get those in the US. You guys have Toyota Yaris GRs. We don't have those in the US. Also, I've seen a fair share of Skylines here, like the Paul Walker Skylines. Those are super rare and super expensive in the US. Earlier, I saw a Toyota Supra pass me. This is not to say that Australia doesn't have a cool car culture, or that there are no cool cars here. However, I find that the most of the cars I see on a daily basis, I don't particularly love. Everything here, it looks, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like European or like Asian. I don't know how to put it. It's just, it doesn't have, most of the cars here don't have an American style to them. And I don't love that. Oh, look at this. Actually, speaking of cars, hold on, check that out. That's a right-hand drive Ford Mustang. That's cool. Maybe I was wrong. Hey, look at that. Maybe I was wrong, my Australian car guy friends. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there are obviously. See, I'm looking at a Subaru WRX, or maybe an STI. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are cool cars here. I just feel like for the most part, I don't find most cars here cool. I don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest. I feel like in the process of recording this, I've changed my mind. Because I said this, and then the universe was like, oh, here's like 6 cars that are actually pretty cool. But yeah, number 5 of things I don't love is going to be just the cars that you can get here, especially like older cars. I love older cars. I love old Lincoln Town cars. I love old Crown Vics. I love big boaty cars. And the closest thing you guys have is like Falcons, and I just don't love the Falcons. And so maybe that's where it all comes down to, is I don't like Ford Falcons unless there's the Utes. I do love Utes. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment. I'm sure you guys will comment. But as always, I will catch you in the next one.